Hello, everyone, and welcome to TIP International Radio. I'm your host, Leah Maston. We are showcasing prestigious top professionals from all industries all over the globe to share their experience and stories of success. I'm really excited for today's guest. He is joining us today from Illinois. He is a former district judge in the District Court for the United States District Court for the Southern District of Illinois. He was confirmed by the Senate on October 21st, 1998, pursuant to his nomination by President William J. Clinton. He is an honored member of the International Association of Top Professionals, IAOTP, and selected as Judge of the Decade. Everyone, please welcome the Honorable Judge David Herndon. Hi, Judge Herndon. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. Nice to be here.
It's definitely my pleasure. I'm excited to talk with you. Judge Herndon, tell me, what first got you interested in the legal field and how did you pursue it?
Well, while I was still in high school, I became aware of a particular law that had the objective to promote the safety of railroad workers and to provide them with compensation in the event of some kind of workplace injury. My uncle happened at the time to be the international president of the largest organization in this country which protected the rights of those workers. Observing his career closely and after many conversations with him, I decided the best way for me to help that cause was to become a lawyer and to provide rail workers with legal representation. With a plan to attend law school and following my first year in college, I began working in a law office with lawyers who practiced exactly the kind of law that I intended to pursue. So with a singular focus of attaining a law degree and to get on with engaging in the cause that I was really interested in, I turned to the practicality of getting in law school and to graduate and begin practicing law. So I managed to acquire enough credits to attain a bachelor's degree within 3 years. I then pursued law school with a great vigor and began practicing law at a reasonably young age.
With over 3 decades of experience as a seasoned and trusted judge, what would be some advice you would give to someone just starting out?
Well, first of all, I would not be as concerned as I was about expediting my education if I were looking to engage in that from the initial stages. My life's course leading up to the acquisition of my license to practice law was a bit too hurried and singularly focused. I think a well-rounded and experienced person clearly makes a person better equipped to represent the legal interests of people and corporations. So consequently, no one should be hesitant to pursue the legal profession, even if that person's already in another career and who do not follow the traditional matriculation of high school, undergrad, and law school. I think it makes sense that someone try to find an aspect of the profession that involves something for which that person can be passionate and caring, able to then help where help is needed. But I think perhaps the most important piece of advice is to be prepared to and then to work very hard, because one has to understand that the persons that seek the help of someone in the legal profession deserve the best that person can deliver. But, with all of that in mind, it's probably most important that one's work be balanced with family life and the pursuit of one's own health. But it's about the best advice I think I can give.
Well, that's definitely some good advice. You certainly covered the bases. You've been involved with many big cases. Which case for you stands out the most and why?
Well, a few years ago, I presided over a lawsuit that involved thousands and thousands of persons, mostly an older population, who complained of injury and in some cases death from taking a blood thinning medication because while taking the drug, these persons developed internal bleeding, which was facilitated really by thinner blood because the blood thinner was doing what it was intended to do.
Right.
But a major problem in these circumstances that was encountered by emergency room physicians and treating doctors of every description was that there was no reversal agent that would counteract these bleeding events. So the unfortunate result was that thousands of people required substantial medical care because of great blood loss and frankly, some, as I indicated, did not survive, and so their families were left to try to do something about the drug in its current form. But understanding the importance of all of that and the questions the litigation raised, I pursued that litigation or managed that litigation in the most expeditious manner that I could, because I wanted to find the answers that everybody did, which is what, why, and how, for not just the families, but for the medical profession as well. So we ended up resolving that case in a relatively short period of time, given the characteristic of the law and how slow it moves. These answers came fairly quickly. So I'm really not only proud of that work, but it's just something that clearly sticks in my mind.
Definitely. It's incredible that you're able to help with such an important piece like that.
Now retired as an active judge, I hear you have a new business venture you are pursuing. Tell us a little about that.
So I really enjoyed my work as a judge because it really involves problem solving from a neutral perspective. I also enjoyed the work I did with the kind of litigation I described before, involving complex cases, which really have a national interest and concern. So from time to time, judges, particularly in those kinds of cases, will appoint a person that is known as a special master who they utilize and give specific tasks to in order to mediate the various legal disputes that arise within the litigation, so that the judge, with, as you can imagine, the many things that a judge has to do with that kind of litigation, possibly would not have to rule on every single dispute if the master is successful at getting the parties to mediate and resolve their differences. So I'm doing special master work like that. I'm also acting as a mediator when hired by parties or appointed by judges for the purpose of trying to facilitate the parties' efforts to completely resolve litigation and settle the litigation. So it's really exciting at this point for me to look back on my career, use the experiences that I've had over the years as a judge and as a lawyer to try to help people, but continuing in that sort of neutral role.
That's all very exciting. I have no doubt your new venture will be very successful. Dave, throughout your illustrious career, you have won numerous awards, honors, and featured in magazines worldwide. This past year, you were honored at IAOTP's annual awards gala at the Plaza Hotel for Top Judge of the Decade and received a Lifetime Achievement Award. You also were inducted into the National Trial Lawyers Hall of Fame and IAOTP's Hall of Fame, and will be honored at IAOTP's gala at the Bellagio this year. Congratulations. What would you say has been the highlight of your career or most memorable experience that you've had to date?
Well, really without question, the honors bestowed upon me that you mentioned relative to the Trial Lawyers Hall of Fame, the IAOTP Awards, and in addition, both my alma maters have recognized me. Clearly, those things are sources of great pride for me and not something I would have ever anticipated. But I think what really is most memorable about my career are the years that I spent with a committee and chairing the committee that was charged with the responsibility of recommending to the governing body of the judiciary as a whole, which is known as the Judicial Conference, policies associated with the security of all federal judges, both at work and away from work, as well as the security of employees and any litigants that were in the federal courts throughout the nation. So, along with recommending policies, we had the responsibility of requesting and providing appropriations to the Marshal Service in their operations of courthouse security and those persons that had a right to be in courthouses, and to then provide oversight into how those funds are spent. I think anyone that has served in that capacity on that committee with its tremendous responsibility and extraordinarily important work can't ever forget that work and the importance associated with it, nor really do you, even after serving on that committee, relinquish the need to always do what one can to help secure the safety of litigants, the safety of the staff, and safety of judges throughout the nation. Extraordinarily important work, and
absolutely,
I think the most memorable aspect of my career.
Definitely incredible. When not working, what do you like to do for fun? Do you have hobbies? Or is it just work?
I pursued my work like I did my education, pretty singularly focused, but I do like with my wife to spend time with our children, grandchildren.
Yeah.
We have a daughter and grandchildren that live in eastern Tennessee, which is a beautiful place to visit. Our other children live close by, and so we get great enjoyment from spending time with them. But we also like to travel throughout the United States, the Caribbean islands, and Europe. Unfortunately, if you were to look at my waistline, you'd understand my love for fine dining and cellaring wine for the purpose of consuming it. And I draw that distinction because I'm not a collector of wine, I'm a consumer of wine. That's another part of my reason for my physique.
There's all very, very good hobbies. I share the food and love of wine for sure.
Looking back, what would you say you attribute your success to?
You know, I never took myself too seriously, but I think, as I've been alluding to, I certainly took the profession and the work of the profession quite seriously. But I think really the most important thing that I can look to that sort of facilitated my success to the extent I had success was that I was always willing to, and always did, work harder than anyone else around me, and I think that's really the key.
Yeah, that'll definitely help quite a bit.
Right.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so very honored to have you as a guest.
Well, I enjoyed it greatly, and I sure appreciate the opportunity, and I'm happy we had the opportunity to talk like this.
Me too. It's just so fun to hear about your journey and your life and your wisdom and insights, and I just really appreciate your time. So
You're very kind. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And please, for more information on the Honorable Judge Herndon, you can visit his website,